Today is October 26th. Today's quote is entitled, "Forgiveness transforms everything." Wow, does forgiveness transform everything? It does. What is everything? Everything. Everything inside, everything in your consciousness. It actually transforms it. And we'll explain how. Let yourself out of your self-created prison. What's a self-created prison? Well, we all know 6th chapter of the Gita, the mind is a friend, the mind is the enemy. You elevate yourself by your mind, you degrade yourself. So, who is the greatest enemy that we face? It's us. We are our own worst enemy. In fact, we are our only enemy. We think we have other enemies? No, we don't. We only have one. How does forgiveness transform us? Well, if we live a life in which our failures are being blamed upon other people who hurt us, we're entrapped, they empower, they control us. I cannot succeed because this person hurt me. It's a prison, right? Forgive, let go. You transform that. No longer is your life stuck in a corner because of what someone did to you. You are free to move and succeed because you no longer will blame anyone for your failures. You know, a lot of people think if I forgive, then I'm going to be condoning this person's action. They're going to do it again. So I'm not going to forgive. And by forgiving, I hold power over them. I'm going to rectify them through my resentment. The only thing you're actually doing by your resentment is poisoning your heart. You're not doing anything to that person. Don't be under illusion that forgiveness is, that resentment is power. It's complete weakness. It's self-destructive. Now, when you let it go, what happens? The whole past that was affecting you, all those negative things in the past that were affecting you in the present, which were limiting your future because you were tied to the past, it's gone. Your life starts to transform. You're free to move forward because you're letting go of the chains that were connected to the other person. Imagine a chain connected to another person. It's around your neck, it's around their neck. That is a person you haven't forgiven. They have control over you. I don't know if you realize this, but if you think about it, you will see that the person you're not forgiving has control over you. When you forgive them, it cuts the chain. There's no control. And you can take that chain off. They're not pulling you anymore. They're out of your life. You're liberated. You've set yourself free. To forgive means to let the prisoner free. Not them. They're not the prisoner. You're not imprisoning them by not forgiving them. You're imprisoning yourself. You let yourself free. You liberate yourself from this whole negative past that had amazingly powerful effects upon you. We think we're getting benefit by not letting go. We think we're getting power, control, revenge. We get to have excuses. We get sympathy from others. We get to be a martyr. The only thing we're doing is destroying ourselves. That's all we're doing. We have to understand that. There's none of those things happen. It's all an illusion in our mind that we think those things are happening. So when you forgive, what happens? You have to develop a different mentality to let go. Someone has hurt you and you have to let it go. How do you do that? You have to become a different person. You have to be more compassionate. You have to be able to return hatred with kindness. That's a major transformation, isn't it? You have to be able to look at a person who hurt you with compassion and think, well, they did this, but they must be suffering. They must be struggling in their life. They must be going through a lot. In order for them to treat me the way they did, they must internally be struggling. So rather than hate them, you see them with an I am compassion. That's why forgiving is so valuable for you, because it forces you to become more compassionate, more empathetic, more understanding, more kind. It causes you to do what every devotee should do, which is to be kind to people who are not kind to us. Well, we have so many examples in our Shastra of devotees being ill-treated and they're just giving back kindness. That's what it means to be Krishna conscious. You know, Prabhupada, in one lecture, it's in the movie, Yadav's movie, where it's a lecture Prabhupada's giving, and he says, we just want to make other people happy. He said, we don't want to exploit people for our happiness. We want to make everyone happy. That's a devotee. So no matter how they treat us, our mood is to give back to them in a way that will be to their benefit, to make them happy. That's why forgiveness is so powerful. Because although so much negativity comes towards you, if you're going to forgive, you have to give back forgiveness, which is such a high level of consciousness. It's generous, it's kindness, it's well-wishing. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be close to them. It doesn't mean you have to have an intimate relationship. You can choose not to. But it means what's coming from you in your consciousness is positive. Because when you let it go, that's how you let it go. Through positive energy. So that's why this quote said, forgiveness transforms. So if you have resentment, that also transforms you in a negative way. And you should realize that. It's detrimental in so many ways. There's so many negative ramifications to not forgiving. There's so many positive ramifications to forgiving. So try to understand that. If you're dealing with an issue that's really bad for you, that's really harming you, and there's so much benefit you will get by forgiving. And if you say how to forgive, you go to my website. I have 30 hours of workshops and lectures on forgiveness. And it'll just kind of refocus your attitude and your understanding of the whole issue that happened to you in a way that will enable you to naturally let it go.